Welcome to podcast number 3 of Showtime All the Time. Glad to have everybody and glad to have our guest, Mr. Steve Yaub, Henrico County Deputy County Manager for Community Operations. Steve is also the chairman of the board of the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority, and we'll get into that more in a little while. But he's been with the county since 2001, serving in a variety of capacities in the public utilities and public works departments. And his current role, Mr. Yaub oversees the Permit Center, as well as departments of planning, public utilities, and public works. I hope I got all that right. He's a graduate of Michigan State University. Go Green.
Go Green, that's right.
And also an MBA from Virginia Tech, so go Hokies.
Right. Go Hokies.
There you go.
Local bona fides.
Yes, got it covered. Steve's also an avid runner, and I look forward to talking to him more about that in a little while. But welcome to Showtime All the Time.
Good morning, Dennis. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to have him. And going back, so 20 plus years with Henrico County. You've been you've seen a lot of change in that time. What stands out to you about Henrico County in the early 2000s, Henrico County 2024?
There's been huge changes, and really, with the focus on changing demographics and needs of our citizens, the active transportation has become huge with us. And by that, I mean walking, riding a bicycle, running, using transit. All of those things matter, where when I came to the county, they didn't. We were a rural or urban, suburban group, and now we're much more metropolitan.
So it's interesting, too. So, you've seen that growth, and you've seen a lot of new things come to the county, new initiatives. You've seen a lot of departmental collaboration. And then the county manager, John Vitulka, says, hey, we're going to start this other new authority, the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority, and we want you to be on the board, and ultimately you become the chairman of this board. What goes through your mind? Like, what is this Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority thing? And from your view, what were some of those goals that you could think of right out of the gate that you wanted to see from sports and entertainment in the county?
Well, I was excited by the opportunity and really honored that, John asked me to serve on this board, and even more honored that the group nominated me to chair it for a time. But, I view active lifestyles as very important. Keep us off medicine and prolong our enjoyment on this earth. We live here for a short time, so the more we can get people out enjoying the outdoors, doing things with their children, making that an inclusive environment for all, not just folks who can run or ride a bicycle, but folks who need mobility assistance or even just to get to jobs. So, I was excited to serve and really hope to make a difference in that realm.
So tell me about that work, though, that the board's been doing to really get this handoff ready for the community-based board that's coming in probably somewhere around April of 2024.
Well, as we've had a number of agency heads who have various expertise in finance and operations, we've been getting ready for the community-based board by establishing some guidelines for the subcommittees that the board has, looking at our facilities and what needs to be improved, looking at our visitor experience, listening to your staff as well on the comments that are given to us by our visitors. So we're just getting ready so that we can provide them all that information so the new people can take right over and hit the ground running.
And at a time when we're a couple months into opening up the Sports and Events Center, we've got some other big projects that are being planned as well. Green City, obviously, as we look further down the road at the arena project at Green City, and what a game changer that will be for our community. So I just want to say on behalf of our staff, we appreciate all the work that the board has put into helping us get this framed up and ready to go. And like I said, 18, 19, 20 months have gone by in a hurry. So we appreciate that. I did mention the Sports and Events Center. What's some of your reaction? You've been over to the building a number of times.
I've enjoyed it. I've been able to enjoy some receptions that have been held there and some events outside of sports. but also I was able to attend the VCU versus Delaware ladies basketball game. It was been to many basketball games in my life, but never a ladies game, so that was fun. I hope to go to more of those. I hope
you have a chance. Sorry to interrupt, but you'll have a chance in March. 8-10 Women's Basketball Championship. Let's go.
Be there.
All right,
I'll be there for as many games as I can.
There's plenty. Trust me.
I will enjoy that. So, and you know, I've been able to walk around and watch the kids playing indoor soccer, futsal, I guess, and some other things, and just listening to the buzz. So it's been fun.
It has been a lot of fun, and again, just appreciative of all the effort that's gone in to get that building up and running.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Steve's an avid runner. So how many marathons have you run? How many states? How many countries? What's the background here on all the marathons?
Yeah, like everybody else, as you get older, you start having your doctor say, maybe you should get some more exercise and lose some weight. So, I was in that boat, and in 2005, I ran my first marathon. And when I was younger and I was in track, I know you were in track too.
We're going to talk about that.
We didn't have distance running like they have it today. So, I was a runner, but was never fast. I was never a sprinter. So when I ran my first marathon, just about qualified for the Boston Marathon, I came close. I was like, man, I can do this. So the bug bit me, and I've been running since then. I've done more than 50. I've done several ultra marathons.
That's amazing.
And I covered my 27th state a couple of months ago in Kansas. Got 4 states on the next year's horizon, at least. So it's a great way to see the country.
Do you want to get to all 50 states?
I
for
do.
A marathon?
I do. I'll tell you, Dennis, one thing I've really enjoyed, and we always pick unique things like trail runs. I ran through the train tunnels in Washington State. I ran the Big Sur Coast in California. We try and pick some scenery or some things of interest. And I've gotten to know some of our states, and some things have surprised me. I went to Alabama, and they have you would think it's more of a rural state, but it's very urban there. And I didn't know NASA was there in force, so I'm learning.
It's a great way to learn the country.
It sure is.
That's fantastic. Do you have a favorite, or you just kind of pick a little bit of every one?
Well, I've run the Boston Marathon 9 times, and it's my favorite. Largest sporting event in New England. Now, everyone will think, well, the Patriots are, they sell out every time. They have 1 million spectators at the Boston Marathon. It's a day off from work. So when you're running that race, the entire 26 miles is lined with cheering people. People are tailgating. Families are cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and cheering the runners on. And they're out there for 6 hours doing this. It's awesome. So that's my favorite.
That's great. Well, I have to tell you, I grew up. Bill Rogers was my running hero growing up. Boston Bill Rogers.
I've met him several times, and
fantastic human being.
I've seen him walking down the streets of Boston at the Boston Marathon, and I've gone up and say, "Billy, how you doing?" Because he goes by Boston Billy, and the man will walk with you and talk to you for as long as you want to do it.
We were fortunate where I grew up in the Ohio Valley, kind of right here on the eastern side of the state, northern panhandle of West Virginia here in this one trophy. But we had a grueling 20K race in Wheeling. It's called the Elby's Big Boy Classic, and it grew into being the U.S. Men's 20K National Championship. So we would get all the top runners. But Bill Rogers won it many times. Frank Shorter, I think, won the inaugural race, but Herb Lindsay, Alberto Salazar, Michael Mushioki. I'm throwing out all these top runners from the 80s that competed in our little area there in Wheeling, West Virginia. So it was a fantastic experience to have those elite runners come and test this, and it was a grueling 20K hilly course. Sure. But what's your view of the running scene here in RVA?
we have one of the best running scenes in the country. There's no question. Our Roadrunners Club, the Richmond Roadrunners, affiliated with the National Roadrunners of America, one of the biggest club chapters in the country. They put on races every month, I should say. In fact, the Frostbite 15K is coming to Henrico County for the first time.
Is that right? Wow. When is that?
This year, end of the month.
Nice.
I've signed up, and every time I sign up, the weather is horrid. But it's going to be at Lewis Ginter. It's going to run through Lakeside, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's sold out already.
Wow.
Sold out.
Wow.
So I've met people, Dennis, that have moved here from New York and other states, and they're just blown away at the running community.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see so many people out in our communities running, biking, and we're going to get into that as well because you've been a driving force behind the Fall Line Trail with so many throughout the county and throughout the region, and it definitely takes a village to build something with the vision of the Fall Line Trail. And then the announcement that sports backers will be moving into Henrico County with their office, and they're going to play a role, obviously, with a key position where their office is going to be with the Fall Line Trail. Tell us about that. Tell us about the impact of the Fall Line Trail and sports backers in that location. What does all that mean for people who can come and enjoy the Fall Line Trail?
Well, when we built the Capitol Trail, and I was affiliated with that at Public Works at the time, we had no idea how successful that was going to be, but 1 million visitors a year on that facility. And the Fall Line Trail is a north-south, Capitol Trail's east-west, so we'll tie into it with a 43-mile facility, and I'm hoping to see another 1 million visitors on that trail. And given our experience, Dennis, with Capitol Trail, we are already planning connector trails to the sports and entertainment facility, to Green City. Sports backers has decided to relocate their headquarters to the Fall Line Trail at Lakeside. So a lot of synergy there. It's going to provide access to employment centers, neighborhoods, schools, all kinds of things along there. So it's going to be wonderful.
Well, and you mentioned, obviously the Capitol Trail. We've got a lot of hiking. We got the James River, obviously, in our region, and some redevelopment coming to Glover Park, and some of the other things that we're doing with our parks. And it seems like Henrico, maybe could be a little bit of a hidden gem for outdoor enthusiasts. What's your message on why Henrico? Why would someone want to come visit Henrico, visit our region? I know you just touched on a few of those things, but what's that message to come and explore the outdoors here?
Well, you can come, bring your bicycle, bring your walking shoes, bring your running shoes. You can cover miles of ground on the Capitol Trail, soon the Fall Line Trail, and those facilities you don't even have to compete with automobiles. The history is wonderful, from our Native American heritage through the Civil War facilities that are here up through today. And there's just a lot to see and do. Microbrews, breweries are abound. We've got some spirit brewers and wineries and wonderful restaurants. Just a lot to see and do in our community.
Yeah, it's again, it's been fun, and we've referenced sports backers a couple of times here, and obviously the stewardship that they've had in outdoor and lifestyle and pushing that through our community and through our school system and everything. I think it's going to pay dividends for a long time. So we're going to transition to as we get close to closing here. One of the things we love to do on Showtime all the time is have our guests bring something that means a lot to them personally or professionally, and share a story about what you bring. So a little show and tell time. So you get to go first.
Okay, well, I'm wearing a medal from the 6-Star Finisher, it's called, and what it means is I've run all 6 of the world's major marathons. Wow. There's 3 in the United States, then there's London, Berlin, and Tokyo. Now, this feat took me 16 years, Dennis. I started in 2007 with Boston, then I ran New York and Chicago, and in Chicago I saw Abbott Labs, the sponsor of the major marathons, had a booth and a wall of fame with all the runners who had finished all 6 major marathons. And at the time, there were a handful, a few thousand. Due to COVID, my finishing was delayed for 3 years because I needed to do Tokyo. I finally did it last spring, and we set a Guinness World Record for the most people to finish all 6 major marathons at one time, 3,000 of us. So I was within the first 11,000 people in the entire world to finish all 6 major marathons. And every major marathon, Boston will be the next one coming up, there's a few hundred more that are added to that list. But because of COVID, we set the world record last March. And again, 16 years to get this piece of steel, and it's kind of important to me. So go ahead.
No, that's fantastic. I keep saying wow because I appreciate what you've done with your marathons. I mean, that is what a major accomplishment. So we've talked running, off and on for a while. I was a avid runner in high school and a couple years in college, and then injuries set in. And when I stopped. I like you, poured my heart and soul into it for a long time, and when I was done, I was done. So I brought a couple of trophies from my early days in the '80s, but this is going way back in the time machine here. And I should have brought my full yearbook from high school in, but I just took a couple pictures out of it here.
Wow.
But this one means a lot to me because this is my sophomore year, and we actually won our conference championship. And it was the first time our high school had ever won a track conference championship.
Wow.
So it meant a lot. And a real interesting quick story here. The conference championship was split into 2 days. Thursday was a lot of the qualifying, Saturday finals. But what they did on Thursday was they ran the 3,200-meter run as a final. So instead of having to run that, because I ran 1,632, instead of having to do it on the same day, I got to split it up. So I won the 3,200 meters on Thursday, came back on Saturday, finished second in the 1,600 meters. So I scored 18 points for our team. 18 points that I don't know that our coach was really counting on, so I was really proud of that. But the interesting thing that happened is our high jumper tied for 6th and got a half a point because 6th place was a point. So he got a half. We won that championship over Stanton High School, 126.5 to 126. So it was a major celebration in our little town of Bel Air, Ohio for St. John Central, but something that I'll always be proud of to be part of the first ever track championship in our high school. And I will tell you, they've gone on to some great success. They've won a state championship and all that. So that was a lot of fun. But I enjoy talking running with Steve, and I've run 20 miles a number of times in training runs, never raced a marathon, never run a marathon, something that's definitely missing from my resume. So I'm glad you're doing it, and best of luck to you as you carry that on and keep running those marathons.
Well, Dennis, thank you for that. And I will tell you this, it's impressive to me, the accomplishments you have as a younger person, because the gear we have now is so much better. And when I was running track, we had cotton clothing, and that is, nobody wears cotton. It is not a performance fabric. So
you didn't want me to come in my running singlet or anything.
No,
I can tell you that. I don't want to scare anybody away from the podcast, but
no, but kudos to you for
you.
what you've achieved, and get back to it and run a marathon.
Well, I would love to do that. I came out of retirement, I don't know, 8 or so years ago, because my oldest son ran track and cross country in high school. So when he kind of found that passion for running, I jumped back in and did a 5K with him, and we ran together for about 1.5 miles or so of the 5K, and he's like, "Dad, I'm out of here." He took off. So, but it was good. It was good. I'll maybe just stick to walking for a little while longer, but we'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll go out and chase you around.
Well, it's humbling when you run a 5K and you get beat by a 12-year-old.
That's right.
And I've been there.
That's right. Well, Steve, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do for our county, and certainly your leadership with the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Authority. I can't say this enough, what Steve and the board has done to help us frame this up and build this framework. And again, we're still in our infancy period. We'll continue to grow, but we're doing this because we have so many great dedicated people in the county that work together. Collaborate is a word that we've used a few times here today, and it doesn't work without that great collaboration. So I'll give you the last word, and we'll sign off.
Hey, it's a labor of love. Happy to do it.
I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching and listening.